And welcome back to another installment of Cafe Lily with your hosts, Rosa and Kelsey.
Thank you for having me here, Rosa, and welcome everyone to the first ever Cafe Lily Toxic Yuri Showdown.
That's right. Today, we're going to be talking about Toxic Yuri.
Yeah, we figured Halloween is approaching, and what scares people more than Toxic Yuri? Obviously, we're not scared, but some people would be scared.
Yeah, it's a lot, a lot of people aren't ready for the downs of Yuri relationship, the toxicity that can come out when two people are incompatible in a way that they do not realize.
Mm-hmm. So, what we've arranged is we each picked a team of 3 Toxic Yuri pairings, and we are going to debate who has the overall most toxic team. So, Rosa, would you like to say who's on your team?
Alright, I got Kaguya and Moko from Toho, Akiya and Ryoku from Tenchi Universe, and Bubblegum Marceling from the Vampire World episode of Fiona and Cake.
Very nice team.
Yeah, now who are your lineup?
I have GLaDOS and Chell from the Portal series, Eve and Villanelle from Killing Eve, and Madoka and Homura from Madoka Magica.
Ooh, interesting team as well.
I think either of us could have the most toxic team.
Yeah.
You might notice that there is a very important pairing missing from this lineup.
And who's that?
Shiori and Judy from Utena. The most famous Toxic Yuri pairing of all time. We didn't include them, and the reason for that would be because that would be too easy.
Yeah, that's too easy. Whoever has that is already gonna win. So, who are gonna pit up first?
I'll start with GLaDOS and Chell. They're my first pairing. Who are you gonna put against them?
That's the strong start. I'll put in another strong start. Kaguya and Moko.
Okay. Would you like to go first? Since I got to pick first?
I wanna hear you go first.
Okay, sure. Portal is one of my favorite series of all time. GLaDOS and Chell are just 2 characters that are very special to me, and I think that they are a very good example of Toxic Yuri. I think that, from Chell's perspective, she has reason to dislike GLaDOS, but from GLaDOS's point of view, Chell is all she has. All she knows is testing, and all she can do is to put Chell through these tests. And that means guiding her, protecting her, according to some voice lines, bringing her back from death. And after that, after they go through all that together, GLaDOS starts to form a genuine attachment to her, and starts to genuinely want to be together with her.
Ah.
So it's like an obsession from GLaDOS's point of view, but for Chell, that's terrifying. It's this supercomputer who is obsessed and in love with you, and that's scary. And I think that those 2 conflicting points of view make it a good example of Toxic Yuri. And please tell us about your Toho pairing.
So, this one is a classic of all time. So we got Kaguya and Moku. Now, who are these 2 Tohos?
Who are they?
Yeah, so Kaguya, in simple term, was once the princess of the Lunarians. And then we got Moku, who is an immortal human who just burns up in flames at occasions. And she's like immortal, if I say again. So, here's what is known about these pairing. They hate each other. They hate each other with a burning passion.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this is because they have like a history together. Apparently Kaguya embarrassed her family, and they've been beefing ever since. So of course they end up in conflict in a Toho game. But that's not what we're here about. We're here about to see what makes it so toxic. Why do they hate each other? Well, we know why. But how often do they just beef? Apparently just all the time. Burn up in flames. And from what I understand, they can't stand each other, but they need each other. they can't stand being near each other, but they can't stand being away from each other. But each time they're together, they're always fighting. They're always fighting it out. This has always prevailed in like different type of Toho media. Like they could be doing the caramel dancing, and they'll still be fighting.
I think that's a very strong example of toxic Yuri. I think that, not to praise my rival in this debate, but you're definitely onto something here. I think that it's very evocative having like this character who's immortal and will never get to experience the typical life of falling in love and growing old with someone, but there's another person who is the only constant in your life and you cannot stand them.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's funny. It's beautiful.
Shouldn't we put them up against each other? Shouldn't we put them in a situation?
All right.
If they were up against each other in a battle, in a physical fight, who would win?
If you're trying to do a double team, or one team has to win in a fight, then obviously Shell and Gladys would win. But like, not through cooperation, but because Moko and Kaguya just hate each other that much, that they end up like outing themselves out of the ring or something.
I think that Gladys and Chell could put aside their differences and work together to defeat their enemies.
But here's the thing. This is toxic Yuri we're talking about.
Yes. So winning is losing.
Exactly. Kaguya and Moko are so on site that they end up losing. They may have lost the battle, but they won the true Yuri War.
They won the Yuri War. And all because Gladys and Chell can work together.
Now, in one aspect, Gladys is capable of getting rid of Chell, as we've seen in Portal 2. But Kaguya and Moko can't get rid of each other.
They're stuck with each other.
Exactly.
I think that I have to concede that your pairing is the winner of this round. I mean, Gladys and Chell, very dear to my heart, but...
That's all it takes. Is that, like, if they can't get along, if they never learn to get along, they can continue being toxic Yuri. Because I feel like with Shell and Gladys having their time away, they probably will be self-reflecting and end up having a healthy relationship.
It could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen the fan art that the lesbians on Tumblr draw.
Yeah.
And it could happen. Okay, will we move on to the next pairing?
Yeah.
Alright, you pick first this time.
Ayaka and Ryoko from Tenchi Universe. How about you?
Okay. I'm gonna go with Madoka and Homura.
Ooh. Strong one. Alright. So I'll go first this time. So, here we have Ayaka. She's a princess from space of the Jirai planet and the Jirai lineage, and she comes to Earth and meets a boy named Tenchi. But before she met Tenchi, there was another girl named Ryoki who's a space pirate. They came down to escape from the police and goes up to Tenchi and makes him her boy toy. Now these two have always been fighting over Tenchi. But in spite of that, when they're together, they have a lot going on.
Oh, okay.
To me, Tenchi is just a middleman of like conveying their feelings. Like they care about Tenchi, they really do. But romantically, it just seems like a game.
Okay, so you're saying that this is a situation of referred feelings. Their feelings are misdirected.
Exactly.
Right, I understand.
They come at each other in anger. They're always fighting with each other. But when they have these moments, these calm moments, they have very tender moments where they showed each other that they truly cared about each other. This was really apparent in one of the Tenchi Universe's movies, where one of the ways they try to comfort each other is by doing their usual bickering. But as soon as Tenchi get back in the picture, they'll be going at it again. They'll be going at it, getting angry, always bickering, because that's how they do it.
Well, I've picked Madoka and Homura from Madoka Magica.
Classic.
Also some characters that are near and dear to my heart.
Ooh.
So, famously, Homura has been living in a time loop, reliving the same time again and again to try and save Madoka because she made a promise to her that she would go back in time and stop her from becoming a magical girl.
We all been there.
She's been living in that time loop for so long that she's kind of lost sight of what's reasonable and what's a reasonable way to act. So, in the ending, when Madoka makes her sacrifice and she says, you don't have to keep doing this for me anymore, I'm going to sacrifice myself in a way, Homura is just like distraught about it at first. And then she seemingly sort of learns to cope with it. But as we see in the Rebellion movie, she did not learn to cope with it. She is so sad about not being successful in saving Madoka because she loves her so much that she became a witch and became basically a devil.
As we all do.
Yeah, sometimes your love for someone is so strong that you become a devil. Now, I think this is also an example of obsession in Toxic Yuri because she is so obsessed with trying to save Madoka that she thinks, no, I know better than her. I'm not going to let her sacrifice herself. I'm going to reshape the world entirely around making Madoka there. She reshapes the entire laws of the universe in order to make Madoka not a magical girl and not a god and not have to carry any burden.
Ooh.
And basically all her friends are like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? But that's how strong her love for Madoka is.
And Madoka just lives in ignorance of what she did.
Yeah, I mean, the new movie's coming out, so we'll find out what happens then, but I'm just basing this pairing for this showdown strictly off post-rebellion Madoka and Homura.
Ooh, yeah, definitely. Homura is such a one-track person that she doesn't see the real picture.
Yeah, I mean, Madoka, she wanted to do what she thought was right, and Homura wouldn't let her because she wanted Madoka in her life that badly. She wanted it so badly that she's not even in her life anymore. That's how it ended up.
Yeah.
I want to put these two pairings against each other in a different way. I think they're not going to be in a fight this time.
Of course.
I think that if our two pairings entered in sort of like a doubles MasterChef competition together, which of them would be able to cooperate?
For sure, Madoka and Homura will cooperate, but Ayako and Ryoko, they're not gonna get along. They're gonna just yell at each other. Ayako's gonna do most of the work, and she's gonna look at Ryoko's like, "What are you doing?" And Ryoko's like, "Oh, I'm just taste testing." It's like, you can't just taste test. You gotta help me out. And then they just start fighting. If anything, the most will happen is like Madoka could just cut herself by accident, and then Homura will like reverse time to keep herself from like cutting herself.
I think that would happen. I think that would happen so many times. Madoka would like accidentally burn herself on the oven, or she would like crack an egg and like mess it up and be a little bit disappointed about that. Homura would reverse time so many times that eventually she just says, actually Madoka, sit this one out. Don't do any of the work. I'm going to do it all myself. You just go and like stand over there. And Homura would try to do the entire competition herself, which is not in the spirit of it.
Yeah. Honestly, it seems pretty tight for like Toxic Yuri cook-off.
Yeah, this might be a tie.
Yeah. They wouldn't win the competition, and they probably wouldn't even like properly make a meal.
Yeah, they would both be disqualified.
They both fulfill the Toxic Yuri quota.
I guess that means that this has to be decided by our final pairing.
That's right. Bubblegum and Marceline from the Vampire World.
I still have not watched Fiona and Cake, so could you please explain to me what the Vampire World is and how they're different?
In this world, Marceline was adopted by the king of all vampires, and they both took over the world, slowly eating every living human of their blood. Bubblegum went on a journey to try and stop them, but it may seem like in vain. Now, the tension, the tension between these two, it just feels like Marceline wants to be with Bubblegum, and Bubblegum wants to be with Marceline, but they can't. They're on two different sides.
Oh, okay. They can't sacrifice their principles.
Exactly. And if they can't do that, they'd rather kill each other.
That's very interesting. That sounds amazing. I can't wait to watch Fiona and Cake. I keep promising that I will.
Get to it. Now, who's your pairing?
Your pairing is actually very similar to mine because I've chosen Eve and Villanelle from Killing Eve.
Ooh.
It's a series about a secret agent trying to track down an international assassin, which is Eve, the secret agent. She kind of has a fascination with women assassins.
Ooh, one of those.
Yeah, and the way that she's first introduced is like she's put on a case of trying to find an assassin, and she goes, "I think this one's a woman," and everyone's like, "Shut the hell up! You're just obsessed with women." And the assassin that she's trying to track down is Villanelle, who, she's an assassin, but she's very stylish. She likes to kill in style. She likes to wear like funny femme little outfits while she's killing.
Oh my.
And they develop a fascination with each other. Eve for this assassin who's incredibly good at what she does, and Villanelle for the woman who is successfully tracking her down. And very often they meet each other and they have opportunity to kill each other, but they don't. They only choose to injure each other or to let the other one go. And this cat and mouse game continues on and on.
Ooh, and they just love it. They just love hurting each other. Is that right?
Yeah, they'll say that they don't, but I don't know. I think the evidence speaks for itself.
I want to say, are they gonna do the kill? Like, if they're put into the situation where they finally just have to kill each other, one of them has to, would they do it? Would they go for the kill? Or if one of them dies or both dies?
Okay, well, if we're going to do that, I'm going to have to disregard the final season of Killing Eve, which is famously controversial.
Oh my god.
Disregarding that, I would say no. I think that my two would not kill each other if it came down to it.
Now, if they don't kill each other, would the game go on? Would the pain continues?
Yeah, I mean, there is no way in hell that these two are going to be normal about anything. What about you? Do you think that Bubblegum and Marceline could put aside their differences and settle down together?
At the end of the world, it's either kill or die. And that's the decision you're met with. Do rather one dies or both die. Someone has to die. And I gotta say, looks like we're pretty tight here too.
Yeah, these two pairings are a pretty even match for each other. I wouldn't say that one wins over the other.
It's another tie.
It's another tie. I guess that means that your team wins just by Kaguya and Moko at the beginning.
You're right.
The real MVPs of this match.
Of course it'd be a Toho pairing.
Of course it would be a Toho pairing.
Oh.
Toho Yuri wins again.
As always.
Well, if anyone's listening to this and has differing opinions on who should have won each round, feel free to let us know, because this isn't set in stone.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we might end up fighting a bit, but it's okay. So, you have any more to say, Kelsey?
No, I think that was a pretty solid Yuri battle.
Now, there isn't a lot of Toxic Yuri that is easy to recommend, but I did at least found one.
Which one did you end up finding?
It is called... Then drumroll, please. Will You End My Love by Tsuyo Itsuki. So, this manga is about Yuzu Hachikawa. She is a high school sophomore, and she is a huge fan of an idol named Madoka Hayami, who also goes to her school. Now, when we first see her, she's obviously a shut-in, a bit of a need. She has such a parasocial relationship with Madoka Hayama that she more or less is in love with the idea of her instead of like the person herself.
Okay, yeah, it can get that way with idols.
Yeah. One day, she sees Madoka's friend Sachiko Seiji being friendly with her. She got so mad. She opened up her Twitter and started ranting about her, saying she is disgusting, she doesn't even know her, she thinks she is an equal, and all she has is a private Twitter that she doesn't follow anyone on, nor anyone follows her. But after school that day, someone found out. Someone hacked into her Twitter.
Oh.
And he told her, come meet me at the roof of the school. She wasn't going to, but outside, Chahiko found her and told her, are you alright? And it reveals to her that she hacked into her Twitter.
Oh.
Because she was able to figure out her Twitter password, which was the birthday of Madoka.
Okay, not subtle.
Right. She saw her typing enthusiastically on her phone. So she found her Twitter by looking up her name and just went right in.
Okay, maybe she needs a lesson in online privacy.
Yeah. With today's sponsor...
We don't have a sponsor!
Yeah, we got a sponsor with NordVPN.
No, didn't happen. Sorry, continue.
So she made her go to the roof. She confronted her. They ramble onto each other. It leads to them backing up into the fence on the roof and then falling off the roof.
Oh no.
When they wake up, Yuzu realizes she's in the body of Chico. And since she's in the body, she can now be closer with Madoka.
Ah, okay.
And Yuzu would find out that Sachiko was really close with Madoka. And Madoka really cared about Sachiko. I don't want to give too much away, because I feel like this could tell you to want to keep reading on for volume 1.
Is this still ongoing? How many volumes are there?
From what I saw, there's about 2 volumes.
Okay.
It started back in 2020.
Right, sure.
But it's an interesting read and it's very fascinating, and I'm very intrigued by the mystery. Now, it is finished. It finished at volume 4, chapter 35.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it gives content warning. There may be a bit more violence down the line.
Okay, so watch out for violence, watch out for all kind of situations that come with swapping bodies with someone.
Yeah, and like being obsessed with a person.
Yep, of course.
Yeah, I can't wait to read more.
You should give an update.
Alright.
I read Carmilla by Sheridan Fanu, which is an 1872 novella, which is one of the very early works of vampire fiction. It famously predates Dracula by a decade or two, and it is also the originator of the lesbian vampire trope.
I think I'm familiar with this. I think I heard about the movie adaptation or like a movie that was inspired by it. It's been a while, so.
Yeah, it's quite a famous work. It has adaptations, and the character of Carmilla appears in a lot of vampire media, but I'd never read it before, so I decided to read it.
How was it?
It was interesting. But yeah, it's about a young woman named Laura who lives with her father in a very isolated place in the woods. And there's a nearby town, but it's been abandoned for years. And then there's a carriage accident outside of her home. And a woman and her daughter, Carmilla, escape the accident. But Carmilla's quite shaken, and the woman says, I just don't know what to do, I'm on a journey, I don't have time to stay here and wait until my daughter recovers. So Laura's father says, leave Carmilla with us and we'll look after her. And Laura and Carmilla instantly get along, and they both think that they've seen each other in a dream before.
Oh.
So they become friends, and they spend all their time, and they go on walks together in the forest, and Carmilla makes some romantic advances towards Laura.
Oh my.
And she's always saying things like, you're mine, I'm gonna make you mine.
Oh, so forward.
Yeah, and she's very affectionate with Laura, but then Laura's condition starts to deteriorate, and she has nightmares of someone biting her neck and someone standing at the end of her bed covered in blood. And she becomes very pale and lethargic, and Laura's father thinks that she's sick, so he sends for the family doctor, and the doctor says, hey, I have a mate who's in town, and I think you should get a second opinion from him. So this second doctor comes and says, oh, you were bitten on the neck in your dream? Yeah, okay, I'm going to the abandoned village to check it out, and I'll come back tonight. And then suddenly Carmilla is missing, so Laura and her father walk along the forest path looking for her. So they follow the path to the village, and they run into the doctor, and he says, yeah, Carmilla's a vampire, and she's marked Laura as her prey. Vampires' predator instincts sometimes read to humans as love or infatuation, but don't be fooled, she's gonna kill her if we don't kill Carmilla first. So they go into the crypt and they start looking for Carmilla's grave, and the men are looking around, and Laura thinks, what do they know? Who are they to say that what we have isn't love? This isn't predator and prey. What Carmilla and I have is real.
My.
But just as she thinks that, they find Carmilla's grave and drive a stake into her heart and kill her for good.
Oh no.
I don't recommend it necessarily as a Yuri, because it's dated. It's from 1872. So it's a little bit like, ooh, these lesbian vampires are preying on our daughters. But it's very interesting as a historical piece.
And you love those.
Yeah, I do. I like historical and Victorian literature. I don't know. Yeah, it's worth a read if you're interested in sort of the history of this genre. It's, you know, classic vampire fiction and classic lesbian fiction.
Yeah, who knows? Some could say it becomes the inspiration for something new.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes the classics inspire your own work.
Take this lesson, y'all.
Yes, use it as inspiration for your Yuri. And then, I don't know, send it to us and we'll read it on Café Lily. Do you want to do your call to action?
Yes, I've been waiting. Now, everyone, this is our second call to action. So, we're still looking for the Cammy and Chun-Li Yuri.
Yeah, the return on that has been a little slow, but that's alright. I'm sure it's out there.
Yeah. Now, I've been looking for a Narcissiru plush for a good while now. And that plush is very difficult to find because it's a premium Bandai thing. Now, Sekiroturu, no problem. But Narcissiru, real issue.
He's a popular guy.
Unfortunately for me, I had to fight every other person on him to get him. So, please, if you see a listing, an active listing for Narcissiru, please let me know. Please at me at SuperPuckyRose64 on Twitter or any social media associated. Please let me know, because I'm running back and forth trying to find that harlot.
She's been going through something trying to find this plush, and you know, according to the boss, this isn't Yuri, so we're not allowed to discuss it on the show. But we need to put the word out there because Rosa is suffering.
Yeah, I'm suffering, you know? It's so bad. Kelsey says, even like one time a friend posted like a picture of our sister in the chat, the plush, and you're like, please, don't do that.
Yes, please. Think about Rosa's state of mind. You can't put her through this.
But please, let me know if you find it. But thank you all for joining us in this wonderful Halloween-themed episode of Café Lily. We see Halloween theme, but it's really just toxic Yuri.
Yeah, well, we put on our Halloween costumes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
We hope to see you next time.
Happy Halloween, and we'll see you next Yuri.
Bye-bye.